There once lived a young woman named Queen, born into a home where peace was as common as the morning dew. Her parents, Mama Yulo and Pa Nana, were known not for riches, but for kindness. They lived in a small clay house surrounded by tall plantain trees, their compound swept clean every morning, their hearts content with the little they had. Queen was their only child, a bright spark of laughter and gentleness. From childhood, she had the kind of calm spirit that drew people near. When others quarreled, she was the one who spoke softly and made peace. Her mother often said, Queen was born with old wisdom in her eyes. Every morning, Queen fetched water from the stream at the edge of the forest, a stream said to carry blessings for those with pure hearts. She would balance the calabash on her head and hum as she walked back home, sunlight touching her face. It was on one of those mornings that her story truly began. A young man named Obinna stood by the stream, washing his hands. He was tall, quiet, and known for his skill with wood. He carved walking sticks, chairs, and even small birds that seemed ready to fly. But more than his hands, it was his calm spirit that caught Queen's heart. They greeted each other that morning with shy smiles. Then again, the next day. And again, until greetings turned to short conversations. Soon, they were no longer strangers, but two hearts finding rhythm in the same silence. Obinna began visiting Queen's family home. He brought carved gifts, a small stool for her mother, a spoon for her father, and a simple bracelet for Queen. He spoke respectfully, helped her father repair a leaking roof, and sat quietly beside her mother in the evenings, listening to stories. After some months, he came with his uncle to ask for Queen's hand in marriage. Her father listened, his face calm but his heart filled with pride. He looked at Obinna and said, "A man who works with his hands will never lack. If your heart is as steady as your craft, my daughter is yours." And so, the preparations began. Queen's mother sang as she cooked. Her father told everyone who visited, "My daughter will soon be a wife." There was laughter in that home, laughter that rose like smoke and touched the skies. The wedding day came with the sound of drums and dancing feet. Queen wore a white wrapper with coral beads around her neck. Obinna's smile never left his face as he lifted her hand before the elders. They were blessed, prayed for, and sent into their new home with the hope that joy would never leave their doorway. For a while, it was so. Queen woke each morning to the smell of fresh wood shavings and the sound of Obinna carving outside. Their laughter filled the compound. Neighbors often said, "They are two people who were born for each other." But one evening, as the sun set behind the hills, Obinna sat quietly, staring at nothing. Queen noticed and asked softly, "What troubles you?" He smiled faintly. "It's nothing. Just thinking." Yet, from that day, something in him changed. He began to wake at night, his body trembling, his eyes open but distant. Sometimes, he would rise and walk out of the house, barefoot, toward the stream. Queen followed him once, calling softly, but he didn't seem to hear. At the water's edge, he knelt and spoke quietly, words Queen could not understand. Then he returned to bed, as if nothing had happened. When she told her mother the next morning, Mama Yulo frowned. "Maybe he's carrying a secret, my daughter. Be gentle with him, but open your eyes." Days turned to weeks. Obinna's silence grew heavier. He carved less, ate little, and often sat staring toward the direction of the forest. One afternoon, Queen pressed him. "Tell me what's wrong, please. I can't help if you don't speak." He turned to her slowly and said, "Before I met you, I made a promise at the stream." Queen frowned. "What kind of promise?" He shook his head. "A promise I cannot break, even if I want to." That night, rain fell hard. Thunder rolled over the hills, and Queen woke to find his side of the bed empty. She ran outside, calling his name. The rain beat against her face, but she ran toward the stream. When she reached it, the water was high, roaring like a beast. She thought she saw a figure in white standing by the rock, but before she could call again, lightning flashed, and the figure was gone. Obinna never returned. The next day, men searched the forest, the stream, and even the hills. No one found him. Only his wooden carving, a half-finished heart, lay near the water, soaked and broken. Queen sat by that stream every day after that. Her parents tried to comfort her. Her mother cooked her favorite food, told her stories, even begged her to come back inside. But Queen stayed there, staring at the water that had taken her husband. Weeks passed, then months. One morning, she found his necklace lying near the rock, the same one he used to wear. It was wet, though the ground around it was dry. Her mother cried out, "Leave it, Queen. Please, leave it there." But Queen picked it up and held it to her chest. "It's him," she said quietly. "He's calling me." That night, she dreamed of him. He stood on the other side of the stream, looking sad but peaceful. "Queen," he said, "I did not mean to hurt you. I made a promise before you came. I cannot return." When she tried to reach for him, he smiled softly and disappeared. The next morning, Queen woke up and walked to the stream again. She held the necklace tightly in her hand. Her mother followed, crying and calling, but Queen did not stop. When she reached the water, she knelt and said, "If you must stay there, then rest. But don't call me anymore." She dropped the necklace into the stream. The water rippled once and then grew still. For a moment, everything was silent, even the wind. Her mother came close and put her arms around her. "It's over, my child." Queen nodded. "Yes, it is." After that day, Queen spoke less and smiled rarely. She worked around the house, helped her mother, and sometimes sat outside for hours, talking to herself in low tones. Her mother feared for her, but she couldn't force her to stop. One afternoon, Queen began to laugh softly while shelling groundnuts. Her mother asked, "What's funny?" Queen said, "He's here again. He said the water is calm now." Her mother froze. There was no one there. From then on, Queen's mind began to wander. Some days she was herself, cooking, cleaning, even humming softly. Other days, she talked to the air, smiling as though someone stood before her. People began to talk. Some said she had gone mad. Others said her spirit was divided between this world and the one beneath the stream. But her mother never called her mad. She would say, "My daughter only loves too deeply. Her soul followed her husband where my eyes cannot see." Years passed like that. The once young Queen grew old quietly, her hair turning silver, her eyes calm but distant. Every evening, she walked to the stream, sat by the same rock, and spoke softly, as if greeting an old friend. And then, one night, when the moon was full and the air still, her mother woke up and found the door open. She followed the faint sound of humming, the same song Queen used to hum when fetching water. By the stream, Queen sat with her feet in the water, her face peaceful. Her mother called her name, but Queen didn't turn. She was gone, her body quiet, her spirit free. The next morning, the stream was strangely calm. No ripple, no sound. People said it was as if the water itself mourned her passing. From that day, no one fetched water from that stream without bowing their head first. They began to call it Queen's Rest, the water that remembers love. And so the story of Queen and Obinna became one told to children and grandchildren, not of madness, but of love that crossed boundaries it shouldn't have. Her mother lived many more years, and every time she passed by that stream, she would stop, touch the earth, and whisper, "May love never blind the heart to reason."